Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Terp Family Fundamentals webinar series. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry for the delay. We were having some technical issues, but we're glad to be online with you now. My name is Brian Watkins, and I'm the Director of the Office of Parent and Family Affairs. And for those that are new, this webinar series is intended to help you become informed consultants on campus resources. If you remember our office's presentation during orientation, we like to say that during the normal course of events, there is no problem that can arise at UMD that a student can't solve using the many resources available to them here. You've probably registered today because you want your student to be successful in their path to exploring career options and deciding on a career. So we are joined today by my dear friend Rachel Wobrak, Program Director in the University Career Center. Rachel is going to share some great information with us today. Please feel free to submit your questions throughout the presentation, and then there will be an opportunity for me to ask your questions directly to Rachel later on in the presentation. So with that, I will hand over our presentation to Rachel. Rachel, welcome.
Thanks, Brian, and thank you everyone for joining me today. As Brian said, my name is Rachel. I work within our University Career Center in the President's Promise. I am one of many program directors. I specifically work with one college, our College of Computer, Mathematical, and Natural Sciences. So if your student is in one of our science-related majors, maybe math, computer science, biology, I would be someone that they could specifically see to see someone in the center that specializes in working with students with those majors. We also have other program directors that work with colleges and schools, our larger colleges and schools as well. So I'm not the only one that specializes. But we're going to dig in here a little bit and talk about the University Career Center. The University Career Center provides comprehensive career assistance for all students here at UMD. We guide students through each stage of their career development using an array of resources and services and programs that ultimately hopefully empower them to navigate a successful career journey. The important thing to know about us and our services is that your student does not need to know what they want to do with their life or even next week to utilize our center. We can help them at any stage. We can help them to explore and figure out what their next steps are or maybe what they want to explore. And of course, those students that know what they want to do and are maybe at the last steps before graduation, we can help them too. So if you've ever heard or thought that the University Career Center is just for juniors and seniors, I'm here to tell you that is false. Please get your students involved at an early class year. I see freshmen in appointments. They come to events. That's actually what we'd prefer, to get them involved early. So our mission in the center is to help students make meaning of their academic and co-curricular educational experiences and to prepare students for the competitive and prestigious career opportunities that they want to explore. So I want to dig in a little bit for a minute here and show you our graduation survey report, or a little bit of data from it. We do a survey every year. We look at graduation in December, and even those students that finish in August, and of course in May. So the 2017 graduation report would be those students that graduated in May of 2017, December of 2016, and August of 2016. So this is just a quick look to see a large portion of students, of course, are employed full-time after graduation. Another large chunk, of course, go on to continue their education. That could be graduate school, medical school, dental school, law school, going on for a PhD, in some way continuing their education. Smaller percentages, of course, make up being employed part-time, serving in the military, maybe even starting their own business. Unresolved means that they initially told us that they didn't have something maybe close to graduation. And so when we tried to check back in with them and find them to see if they found something, we weren't able to find them and find out one way or the other. So we don't want to stay unplaced because lots of times these unresolved students have gone on to find employment or gotten into a school of their choice. The unplaced students are the students that have told us once probably around graduation they didn't find something, and then later on the process still hadn't found something. And of course, we are here to help those students and alumni find those opportunities. Now, we feel really good about our data because we have a knowledge rate of 83%. We send out our survey. We also rely on faculty and staff members. So there are a lot of students, of course, graduating every semester, but in some of these smaller programs, they really get to know their students. So for me in my college, I know that I can go to geology and say, I still can't find these 3 students. Do you know where they ended up? And they can help fill in that knowledge and help us know where they go. We also use LinkedIn to find when students have posted new positions or new graduate schools that they're attending to help fill in this data. So because we know where 83% of them go, we feel really confident in our placement rate. As you can see, it's 92%, and that's placed in any of the following. That could be that, they're employed, they've gone on to graduate school or military, all those other things I just mentioned. So it's nice because we have a really good picture of where our students are going. So a little more information about the employment. You'll see that 91% of students say that their employment is directly aligned with their career goals or is a stepping stone toward their ultimate career goals. So an example of what maybe a stepping stone might be that a student found a post-graduation internship. I'm sure you've heard and know that internships are really important for students to get. I think usually you think about them happening while students are in school, and they absolutely can, but we do have some students that will find internships right after graduation, maybe pick up a little bit more experience, and then that internship helps them get to their ultimate full-time goal for a longer period of time, maybe not just a short-term internship experience. 91% also say that their employment is directly related to the field of study or utilizes the knowledge, skills, and abilities that they've gained through what they've studied. So hopefully you are well aware that one major does not equal one career. Yes, there are maybe traditional career paths, but certainly I work with plenty of science students, and some of them go on to do something related to science, and some say, I've gained a lot of skills and experiences, but I want to do something outside of science. So this says that 91% say they're doing something directly related to what they've studied, or they know that those things that they've gained in their major have helped them and apply to the field that they're working in. So hearing that from 91% is something that we're especially proud of. So looking at internships, I alluded to this a little bit. You will see that over 3/4 of our students report having at least one internship. Of those, 58% of those interned had at least one paid internship, and 42% had at least one that they did for credit. It's not mandatory that they do it for credit, of course, but they can if they wish to. You'll also see that not only is it likely that your student will have an internship while they're at Maryland, it's likely they could have more than one. So really the best way that you can help us in this situation is to talk to students about internships, get them thinking about it now. This isn't a wait until junior year and I'll find an internship for that last summer. Really, they can be doing it after a freshman year, can be doing it during the semesters if they find maybe a 10 or 15 hour a week one that they want to do during the school year, they could do that as well. So helping them, getting them to think about it so they have the opportunity to participate in more than one internship if they'd like to. Of course, internships are not the only way to get a really great out-of-classroom experience. I am one to very quickly promote any of these opportunities. It's not just about the academic experience at Maryland. They're going to get a great academic experience at Maryland, but helping to back that up, and what's just as important are these other opportunities. So internships, they could be working part-time on or off campus, being a member of a student organization, or even maybe helping to lead that student organization, being involved in community service learning, being involved in research projects on or off campus, even studying abroad. There are many more things that aren't on here. These are kind of the big ones. And you can see the percentages by which students say they participate in them. But these are just as important. These help give them the skills that will help them show that they have what they need to participate in future internships, future jobs, the skills that they need to go on to graduate school. Research, of course, being a really important part if they're thinking about going on to graduate school. Okay, so we just dove into the grad survey a little bit, but I want to take a step back a little bit. What we're really trying to do with students is get them to be career ready. We want them to know the interests, the values, the skills that relate to a career. We want them to make use of our career exploration and job search resources because we have a lot of them and that's what they're there for. We want them to be able to articulate their ability to contribute in a work setting. We want them to confidently engage professionals in their areas of interest. And then, of course, proactively pursue their career goals. So this is kind of a basic list of what we believe it means to be career ready. And these are the things that we want students to be able to do by the time they graduate. Programming and services that we provide, the resources, all of them touch on at least one of these things, oftentimes more. Okay, so this is a 3-step model that we kind of use to talk about our process. So within the things that we do, whether that is programming, services we offer, resources, they probably touch on one of these 3 areas. The idea is that students kind of start out probably with that career foundations area. This is where we help with self-assessment. Self-assessment could be something as simple as deciding what to major in. It could also be, once they have that major, figuring out what they want to do with that major. Career exploration, seeing what options are out there. What are some of the options of things that they could try out and do? And then, of course, some of those basic search skills. Maybe it's not as tailored as a student who's had a lot of experience and they know exactly where they want to go, but knowing where to go if they're looking for an on-campus part-time job, or they're looking to get research experience, or maybe start that internship search. Experiential learning kind of comes after that. That's where they can be exposed to more experiences, find different ways and that they can use their major and different fields or industries to get into. They might test some of their options, try out an internship, see if they like something. It's just as important to find out that you don't like something as it is to confirm that you do like that option. And of course, developing some of the competencies and skills that they need through the search process, as well as in the professional work environment. That final area being professional preparation, that's the commitment to the field. They know the type of position they want to get into, or the type of industry they want to work, or the type of program they want to study in for graduate school. They have a more tailored search strategy and plan in place. And then, of course, maybe have started to develop their personal brand. What's important to them? What are some of the things that they're looking for career-wise that will be their personal career brand? So this next slide shows you a slightly more complete view. This is a view and a version that we sometimes use with faculty just to kind of show where everything fits together. We typically don't share it with students because I think sometimes it can be a little intimidating. But the idea that that closest arc that's closest to academic experience, that's kind of the bare minimum, right? To get to graduation, you need to go to lectures, you need to go to your labs, you need to select a major, you need to do those major requirements. Next step out are those things that will help have your student have a meaningful college experience. So making sure that they're utilizing their academic advising. Maybe they participate in a learning community or co-curricular activities. Maybe they're employed on campus. They might also get research, study abroad, service learning, start to delve into internships. And then typically junior, senior year, they start to do things like capstone projects. They might be part of a senior symposium, professional conferences, maybe they're attending on campus or off, taking on leadership roles. And so we like to show this because the idea is like your student has to do more. It's not simply about doing that first base level, going to class and doing the assignments. Like that's important and you have to do those, but it's the extra things that add to it that will help get them to understanding what they want to do, how to search, and the types of positions that they're really interested in, and really help them meet those post-graduation goals, no matter what they are. So just a quick look at some of our programs and services. I've talked a little bit about them in general. We offer one-on-one appointments, of course. That could be with someone like myself that specializes with a certain college. It could also be with someone in the Maine University Career Center that could see all students. We offer a lot of different types of workshops. They could be skill building workshops, how to write a technical resume or research resume. We've had some on Photoshop, some on job searching, of course. We have industry panels. So this is where we bring in sometimes alumni, sometimes employer partners that work in specific areas or industries to talk about tips, how to get into specific areas. For example, there's one next Tuesday that I'm running, Careers in Bioscience. So if you have students in biology, definitely make sure they know next Tuesday. We have that panel. We also do resume reviews in the center. We have peer career educators, which are students that we specifically train to help with resume reviews. And of course, they might see one of our professional or grad student staff as well. We can help students with mock interviews to help them prepare for interviews they might have coming up. Career fairs and other employer events when we have a chance to bring them on campus. And then, of course, we have online resources, as well as if you want to see a broader picture of some of our programs, you can go to our website. Really easy to remember, careers.umd.edu. But one thing I do want you to know, as you can see there on the right-hand side, we have almost 30,000 student touch points each year. And that number is from 2017, 2018, for the number of students that came in for an event, for a program, in some way participated or engaged with our office. Two specific programs I'm going to highlight. These are two of our newer programs, a little bit more involved, that kind of focus around career exposure. We have Intern for a Day. My colleague Erica runs this program. It's a half-day job shadowing program. And so we have alumni and employer partners that volunteer to host students, have them come in. They get to pick a time and work out a day that works for the student and for them to come in and see what they do in a typical day and shadow and get some experiences, see the work site. We have over 700 students that participate in this program annually, and we have just added a program, Intern for a Day in New York, that will be this winter break. So that's a fun new addition to that program. We also do career shuttles. This is another half-day opportunity to visit an employer site. So this is where we might rent out a shuttle bus, or if it's metro accessible, go by metro and visit an employer site and have a presentation, or maybe hear from people who work there about the different opportunities, best ways to apply for opportunities they might have, and learn a little bit more about what that organization does and what the culture is at that organization. We have about 250 students that participate in that every year as well. I think the really important thing, just to go back to career exposure before I get into this slide, is that students often don't know all the opportunities that are out there. I often tell students, you know what your parents did because you saw that growing up. You know what teachers do, you know what doctors do, because those are careers that you were exposed to at an early age and many times. There are so many things out there. They don't know all the opportunities that are available. I'm still learning them, and I have worked with this population of students for over 8 years now. So they can't be expected to know all of them. So having these opportunities to take advantage of learning about new career opportunities is really helpful for their career exposure, to know what's out there. But moving on, we do have some online career courses. We'll dive a little bit into Psych 123, which is the psychology of getting hired. But I should also mention we have EDCP 108I, which is an internship course. And with that, we also have a couple special sections. So we just started offering this fall 1 for CM&S majors that my graduate student is running. And I believe there's one for econ and probably some other special populations as well. But I know those are two off the top of my head that we offer for EDCP 108I. But with Psych 123, it kind of forces them into a little bit more structure if they want that structure to take this course, forces them to make progress on their career development and their career search. It's an online course. They get to interact with our office too. So they will come in for a resume review with one of our peer career educators. They will also come back to do a mock interview with either someone from our office or one of the volunteers that we get. So they have opportunities to come in and interact with our office, as well as completing the work online. But it's a great opportunity just to kind of help keep them moving, as well as give us a chance to measure their progress and what they're learning from the class. So as you can see just from a quick look at some of these, we definitely have growth areas in how students feel they are doing better with their strong social media profile, that they know how to make sure their resume stands out. So you can see that the course is definitely helping, if nothing else, their confidence in what they're creating. That is the end of my structured portion here. Brian, do we have any questions?
We do.
Yay.
So don't go anywhere, folks. We do have a couple questions. Of course, if you do need to leave, just remember that this is being recorded and will be available on the Terp family YouTube page that's referenced here on this slide. So some really great questions got submitted. Rachel, the first one, a parent was asking about, what suggestions do you have to encourage a student to make use of the resources in the Career Center, especially if they have a student who's a little more on the shy or hesitant side? So what do you recommend to kind of give them a little boost and encouragement to make use of the Career Center?
Sure. I think it depends on your student and what level, how they're shy. So sometimes some students would rather come to an event where there's more people and they can sit in the back and not talk and just listen. So that might be an opportunity to suggest they come to a career panel or a workshop, because they don't necessarily have to be involved and ask a question of a panelist, but they can sit there and listen and hear about some of the advice that panelist might have. If they are shy in a way that maybe a lot of people or crowd kind of makes them uncomfortable, then maybe making an appointment with someone in our office. It could be, coming in even maybe and talking to one of our peer career educators. That could be a good entryway. It's going to be a peer, someone they can kind of talk about maybe some of their concerns and ask about some of our resources. So our peer career educators will do resume, cover letter, reviews. They will also kind of walk students through the website and show them some of the resources and could potentially talk to them about some of the programs we offer. So that might be an easy way to feel more comfortable. Or, like I said, they could make an appointment online through Careers for Terps through our website and meet with one of our professional staff members if they wanted to kind of have a one-on-one conversation.
Great. Thank you. Another question, how can students best prepare before they even come to a meeting at the Career Center?
That's a great question. Because definitely I can usually tell when a student has prepared, but it's okay if they haven't, because if they're coming to my office, that's a great first step. I think best way to prepare before coming in for a conversation could be thinking about what you want to get out of that appointment. Do you have specific questions, or do you have a specific topic that you want to start with? And making sure that you come in and when you come in and you introduce yourself, you're saying, I'd really like to talk about my resume today, or I really want to talk about how I can best apply for an internship. Like, I've done a resume, but now I need to, where do I search? Or I don't know what I want to do with this major. Can we talk about how I can explore what I could do with a degree in X? So knowing what they want to come in and being able to talk about that with the person they sit down with is really the best way to prepare. If they have specific questions, write them down. I think that's great.
Excellent. And I think the other thing that I would add, just kind of a caution for parents, because I think a lot of times you might have questions that you want answered. Mm-hmm. And so try to lead your students to that point instead of give them your questions, to just help your students to think through this process a little bit more. There was a question about whether, I know that, Rachel, you're not the person for engineering students per se, because you're in CMNS, but who would that be? Because I know that
mm-hmm.
Career Center doesn't necessarily have a direct relationship or isn't embedded in all the places. Mm-hmm. So tell us more about that.
Yes. So Career Services on our campus. I am in the University Career Center in the President's Promise, so we do serve all students. That being said, there are some schools or colleges that have their own career services. Engineering is one of them. We work very closely with them. So they have their Office of Career Services. It is in Glen L. Martin. So they have a staff that work just with engineering students. Their director is Heidi Sauber. They also have a number of other people that work with her, some that work more with employers or with students. They offer walk-in appointments. They also ask of their students, all engineering students, to come in and have their resume critiqued before they can fully use their Careers for Engineers job search tool. So that would be a really good, going back to that, how do you encourage a student to make an appointment? tell them that they basically need to. With engineering, they should stop by with their resume, and that can be their first experience kind of getting to know the office and some of the women that work there. Business school also has their own career services that is just for business students. And then throughout the different colleges and majors, there are sometimes like an internship coordinator or maybe one person or two people that kind of help with internships or placements or things like that. But as far as career centers, it's us and then business and engineering.
Perfect. And then one final question. How do students find out more about Intern for a Day and also the Career Shuttles programs?
Perfect. So both of those things, as well as many other programs, they can find on our website. So careers.umd.edu. I don't have the Intern for a Day specific link off the top of my head. But if you go to careers.umd.edu, top of the page, you'll see an option to search. They type in Intern for a Day or Career Shuttle. That should bring them to more information. Of course, if they have trouble finding it, they can always come into our office and ask someone, and we can kind of help direct them to it as well. Shoot us an email too. That's always good.
Just realized I was on mute. So I will unmute myself. That is the end of our session today. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to chat with us this afternoon. And I apologize again for our late start. I just want to remind all of you once again that a recording of this webinar will be available on the Terp Family YouTube page. And you'll also be able to access the recording through our website. And that website is terpfamily.umd.edu if you'd like to rewatch this webinar or check out any of our other webinars that we've provided. As always, we welcome your thoughts. If you have any suggestions on other webinars that you'd like to see us conduct, we would love that input. We always welcome your thoughts and your feedback. So thanks again for joining us, and have a wonderful day.